Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I'd be able to send videos like this to your inbox as soon as tomorrow morning. If you like this watch, you can buy it on thewatchbox.com. Buy, trade, and sell luxury watches 24 hours a day and globally on thewatchbox.com. This is the Vacheron Constantin Overseas Chronograph Generation 3. A launch at SIHH 2016, by far the most finely finished, feature-laden, and sophisticated of the three overseas generations to date. Though the model family is only 22 years old, it's perhaps surpassed the advancements in refinements and value that you'll find in the competing Patek Philippe Nautilus and Aquanaut, as well as the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, and even the Offshore. This is a large watch, and it fits well on my 16-centimeter circumference wrist. 42.5 millimeters across the case from 9 to 3, that's not including chronograph pushers or crown. The watch is not excessively thick at 13.7 millimeters. You will note that there's a dramatic slope to the bezel that lets it slide underneath formal cuffs and tighter dress sleeves. From lug to lug, the watch is 50.7 millimeters, and I find that pretty much describes the span across the wrist. It is a tonneau-style case, or rather, it can be described as tonneau-inspired and a cross between a round watch and a form watch. This has been the general profile of the Overseas since the first bout in 1996, but it also incorporates some elements of the 1977 Vacheron 222 sports watch, as well as more than a nod to the first quarter of the 20th century, when Vacheron tonneau cases arguably led the line among the company's wristwatch offerings. So there are elements of all of the above nicely integrated here. I will mention major strides in the strap junction, strap quality, strap selection, and the clasp. Let's start with the most basic upgrade, the one that is super easy to express. A quick release system for the strap. Now this watch in two-tone rose gold and steel comes with a brown leather strap and a brown rubber strap, as well as clasp. You can swap them out if you want to change the style of the watch or simply upgrade the durability for aquatic use. You'll also note that the strap on its underside has a wonderful semi-sueded calfskin that feels absolutely sensational against the skin. It's even perforated to allow it to vent a little bit. The gaiter, as you can see, high quality, large rectangular scale alligator leather, brown, a medium brown, with a folded edge and a monotone stitch. You will note the degree of articulation that is built into the strap, so it can pivot comfortably on the wrist. There is a pivot built in to the swing arm of the deployant clasp, and I have never seen that feature before. Vacheron wanted this to be a comfortable clasp, and mission accomplished. You can even see that the cradle is shaped to match the traced outline of the underside of your arm. And another upgrade, a big one. Previous generations of the Overseas used a screw set buckle, which was a problem if you wanted to adjust on the fly. This one uses a conventional Ardillon or pin buckle, so you can make adjustments to the watch. It's not set it and then forget it unless you've got a screwdriver. It's set it and then reset it as necessary. You'll also note it is a twin trigger release system, so this is not a friction fit clasp. It can't accidentally pop open. Maltese cross motif, keep that in mind. You're going to see it again and again. You can see it in the junction of the strap and the lugs. You can see it in the design of the bezel. You can even see it blazoned on the crown as well as applied on the dial. Now we may as well denude this watch of its straps altogether. So the nice thing about this system is that it is one of the least nail intensive of all quick releases. So if you're familiar with these proprietary lug systems, you know that unless you have rather remarkable nails for a male, it can be difficult to remove them. Not so here. You can see what I'm getting away with. Now the timepiece has a wonderfully profiled case. Handsome, it's also nicely finished. You can see the faceted swell of the bevel along the case flank, the handsome optically smooth polish of the case band, and the satin finish of the case top as well as the lug hood. You'll also note that between the polished flares of the Maltese cross bezel, there are vertical striated satin finish sections. Beautifully thought out. Nice contrast, subtle, and incredibly handsome. There's also a plinth on which the bezel sits. You'll note that the crown as well as the chronograph pushers are the real deal with a slash cut knurling. They are true screw downs, so the watch boasts 150-meter water resistance. In spite of being a dress-oriented full-sized sports watch, nevertheless, the watch does have real sports watch credentials that will put a Nautilus, an Aquanaut, even a Royal Oak offshore non-diver to shame. The dial of the watch is wonderfully rich. It has a spectacular sunburst silver pattern. You can see matching rose gold indices and hands. You can see sunken sub-registers with an azurage concentric circular guilloche pattern. You'll note that there is a frame for the date at 4:30. The watch features a handsome sloped ray haut for more easily reading minutes as well as chronograph seconds. Let's try to get the most out of this dial in the light. You can see the sunburst is richly textured. An easy watch to read day or night. There will be a loom shot. This is a nicely loomed, full-featured, 24-hour-a-day sports watch. The watch features a vertical clutch system, so you can start the chronograph without any stagger or jump to the hand, and because of the vertical clutch, there's no additional wear and tear on the movement if you want to just leave it running. Moreover, there's a quick set so you can rapidly cycle the date, and all of the functions are selected by a column wheel, so as you cycle the chronograph, it has a very crisp action. It's competitive with the Zenith El Primero, which I consider to be one of the absolute best chronographs for feel and sound. This is right up there. Caliber 5200, in-house automatic, 54-hour power reserve, 54 joules, adjusted in a chronometer like 5 positions, automatic winding with ceramic rotor bearings, high efficiency, unlubricated, Geneva hallmark finish for the first time on an overseas display caseback, in-house movement for the chronograph, Geneva hallmark on the caliber. All three are firsts for the overseas. Beating away at 4 Hz, you'll note the beautiful finish across the bridges, a richly textured abrasive wheel Côte de Genève not stamped. When I turn the watch flush at the camera, you can start to see the edges of the bridges lighting up. That's the mirrored anglage of which I've often spoken, the true hallmark of a hand-finished movement. You'll also note that the screw heads, as well as the cap, for the shock protection, all black polished. They turn black when you turn them flush to the camera. And you'll also note a great deal of handsome finish in multiple varieties, from perlage across the base plate to grained finish on certain components such as the levers of the chronograph, black polished crenellated caps of the column wheel, as well as a Maltese cross motif inset within the column wheel structure itself. There is an engraved compass rose on the golden winding mass, and Vacheron has assured me that the system actually uses an engraved rotor rather than a stamped rotor. So this is engraved the old-fashioned way rather than industrially pressed. No expense spared here. Not only is it 150 meters water resistant, but despite the display caseback, Vacheron has retained all of the original anti-magnetism of the old closed caseback Faraday cage overseas. They've done this by using a paramagnetic ring that encircles the movement, and in doing so, it simply channels magnetic field lines around the caliber, so you still have the same 25,000 ampere per meter anti-magnetism as you had on the old closed caseback. For reference, the ISO 7064, the standard for an anti-magnetic watch, is 4,800 amperes per meter, so this is multiples of that. And as you can see, that beautiful ridged Côte de Genève, light on one side, dark on the other side of the crest, that's always the calling card of real Côte de Genève. And you can see a little bit of that perlaged finish across the base plate. Nothing about this movement disappoints. Not only the screw heads black polished on their heads, but their slots, as well as their circumference, are chamfered. This is classical Geneva watchmaking in a rose gold and stainless steel sports watch for the modern age. You can see and you can own this Overseas Generation 3 chronograph on the watch box. And we're back with the Vacheron Constantin Overseas Chronograph Generation 3. Rose gold and steel by day, big and blue by night. See it with full boxes and accessories on the watch box.